Welcome to the Current Buddhist. I am Reverend Shen-Wen, and I'm sharing my current understanding of certain aspects of Buddhist thought and principles. And I say current understanding because everything isn't permanent, and our understanding of anything should only really grow with time and care. I wanted to focus on real-world examples of how to apply Buddhist thought and values and the core principles of Zen to everyday questions and situations, but I should also really address the basics so that way you can understand where I'm coming from. So in this video, we'll address my current understanding of the Four Noble Truths. And I'll address the fourth truth in name only because in this video, uh, I don't have time to go over the full Eightfold Noble Path and its the depth and richness that it deserves. Those the Four Noble Truths are really the impetus for us getting started on the path of Zen. I'll go through those now. The first noble truth is that there is dukkha in this world. Now, dukkha is a term that's historically and traditionally been translated as suffering, but it might be more accurate to call it unsatisfactoriness. And the term covers everything from that gut wrenching, soul shattering, heart rending suffering that we feel in the worst situations, all the way down to that strange yet pervasive feeling of minor unsatisfactoriness, though nothing really appears to be wrong, but is a constant and underlying feeling in life. They're enumerated into three classifications in the Dukkha Sutra, which they are called suffering from pain, suffering from formations, which we can also call existence in a causal and conditioned world, and suffering from change. Recognizing these feelings and searching for something to alleviate them is one of the most common reasons people come to Zen or really to any philosophical or religious system. What happens is we see that things are not how we would choose for them to be, and the juxtaposition between our wants and the reality that's before us tends to manifest itself, in our view, as unsatisfactoriness at best and suffering at worst. My teacher would call this where the ideal meets the real. But this is also a gateway to our understanding of interdependence and interconnectedness, two more Buddhist core principles, because we see that this process is universal. Everyone experiences unsatisfactoriness and suffering at one point in time or another. And the reasons for this are usually pretty familiar to us all. But more importantly, the root of this suffering is universally the same, which we discover in the second noble truth. It also shows us that one person's actions can either cause or help to ease the suffering of another. So there's that interconnectedness right there. The first noble truth in that instance, and in this case, brings us together in a common cause. And it sets the stage for most of us searching for something greater than ourselves, or at the very least greater than our situation. And it identifies the culprit for why we're searching in the first place. The second noble truth is our suffering or unsatisfactoriness is caused by our attachments and our delusions. Now, this is the how of the first truth, but it is deep and it holds many lessons. One of which is that it shows us that our suffering comes from us. It's from our attachments and our delusions. In other words, it's not outside of us. It isn't dependent on the reality occurring in that time and space, but rather on our relationship and our response to it. It's our attachment to money, not how we have, for example, how much we have or how much we don't have, but rather our attachment to it. It also directs our attention to our minds. There's a difference between our mind, big M, and our mind, little m. For ease of reference, I'll call big M mind, mind, and little m mind, the brain. Our issue is that we think that the brain is our mind, and we let it run an operation that it really has no business running. I'm sure many of us have seen a system that runs processes that it wasn't built to handle. I mean, sure, it'll technically work, but it won't be effective or efficient. And that's basically the situation that we're in almost on a daily basis. Because the brain is a tool that that has a very specific purpose. It's a logic-based difference engine, is really what it is. I like this. I don't like that. This is important to me. This is not. This is comfortable. This is uncomfortable. And based on that, we form opinions and we form our attachments to things. We go towards things we like and we avoid things that we don't. And it does serve a very important role. I mean, without this to tell us what we like and what's good for us, we might find ourselves eating rocks and poison ivy or taking our 9-foot pole out for a walk during a lightning storm. Um, so it is absolutely necessary, and it has its place in helping us navigate this life in this physical world. Mind, though, is more. It's also our brain, but with added dimension. It's knowing that we have to eat for fuel for our body, but it's also savoring the flavors. Knowing that soup makes your kids happy on a winter day and not just it's time to feed them. It's tasting tastes like it's for the first time that you've ever done it. Mind is what inspires us to seek meaning, to look deeper and love stronger. It's the difference between a technically perfect song that's been written by formula and a beautiful and moving concerto that will bring people to actual tears. It's more than all of that, but I think that's enough for right now to think on to sort of get the stage set for, in the future, hopefully greater understandings of what mind can encompass. So, if that's all the case, then what are we doing letting the brain run the show? Especially when that show is so complex that our brains can only really worry about our own personal, physical, and emotional self. Um, there's no way that you can't find only unsatisfactoriness in this instance. So the third noble truth is that there is a path to the cessation of dukkha. And this truth is often overlooked. People breeze right by it, but it's probably one of the most important ones. It's a great many things all wrapped up into one. It's a message of hope. You can find equanimity, peace, and meaning. And the path starts here. It's an instruction. A path has been laid before you. Others have gone this way. Learn from their experience. It does lead to a destination. It's a warning. A path is just a path. After all, if you step off of it, you might not find your way again. It's a lesson. Once you get to where you're going, you don't need the part of the path that got you there anymore. In fact, you need to start thinking about heading back. And if you have to go back, did the path ever really end? Or are you still on it? Could you ever have not been on it? It's also a reminder of impermanence. Even suffering is subject to the same laws of this universe. So nothing lasts forever. We've all heard the phrase, this too shall pass, as the scriptures say. But it also provides us with a riddle, one that, if we answer it, holds the greatest of prizes. If there is suffering in this world, and it's a fact that there is, but there's also a way to end it, what has actually changed then? Has anything changed? Have we changed? Or has everything changed? Or has nothing changed? And the fourth noble truth is that of the path of the Eightfold Noble Path. That is the way to end suffering. But that requires a video all on its own. Beyond that, there are other things like the three pure precepts that give us a watermark for the effectiveness of our practice. There's the six perfections, which help to put meat on the bones of the Eightfold Noble Path, and other aspects of Buddhist teachings as well. So please stay tuned, subscribe for those videos, and for now, think on the Four Noble Truths and how they affect, impact, and can be seen in your own life. I'm Tofu.